Yes, people. What's going on? Welcome back to another Flex's View. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to United View. Smash a like on the video, man. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. All 200,000 of us plus now. I think we're on like 200,500 already. We're nearly on 2,000. We're nearly on 200,001. You know what I'm saying? So let's get that. Let's get that to rise, man. Let's jump straight into the news because I've got to talk about Carlos Baleba and what's going on there at Brighton in personal terms and his agents and Brighton's asking price, etc. There's been a big update. If you've been following the Twitter account that is India Khalil, I still don't know how to pronounce it. Indy Kayla? That's what I'm going with. Indy Kayla I'm going with. But they've entered the fray after being a parody I've learned for so long. And they were the first to come with this sort of Brighton news. And I think as soon as they've got the cosign from David Ornstein, we're starting to take them seriously. You know, they're looking like they're credible again. We'll see how long that lasts for. But certainly with the initial reporting of Carlos Baleba, you know, being a target for Man United, they've entered the chat. So in terms of keeping that same energy until proven otherwise, when they say something about this Carlos Baleba stuff, I'm going to listen, personally. It doesn't mean it's 100% going to happen. It doesn't mean everything they say is 100% true. But when you start off or re-announce yourself on that foot of Man United trying to get Carlos Baleba and everyone going, whatever, then Ornstein does Man United are trying to get Baleba after Indy Kayla, then we have to start talking or listening to Indy Kayla. And that's what throughout this Carlos Baleba situation, that's what I'm going to be on until we're proved otherwise. But there has been an update with that. We're going to talk about Rasmus Hojlund as well. He's been told, get out, basically, essentially, which I don't think is news. When you see yesterday they didn't get any minutes in that last friendly against Fiorentina, I think the writing's on the wall there, so I'm going to get into that as well. But let's get into what Indy Kayla have said. They said, firstly, it's a couple of hours ago, they said, firstly, a big shout out to the reporter who reached out with this exclusive. So they haven't said which reporter it is, because I know have doing a bit of research on they're like a group of reporters, but they're saying that a reporter has reached out to them for the exclusive, which is interesting. Why would that reporter not put it out themselves? But I don't know. But this is what they say. Carlos Baleba wants out and personal terms have been agreed. Carlos Baleba has made his intentions clear. He's verbally asked Brighton to let him move to Man United. And it goes on to say this is the tweet they put out. And it gets even more interesting because Baleba's agent has given the thumbs up on the personal terms offer if Brighton agrees to let him go this summer. Brighton at this moment, this is the important bit as well, Brighton at this moment have not nudged from the £100 million valuation on the player. So in terms of the valuation on the player, about how much it's going to cost to get Carlos Baleba out of Brighton, it's that type of bread. It's that type of bread. We know it is. We've known that for a hot minute. Brighton don't play. I think the significance of this bit is that it looks, according to this report from Indy Kayla, it's like Baleba's actually agitating for this move. He's made his intentions clear verbally that he's asked Brighton to try and find a way for him to become a Manchester United player. That's significant because it's all one thing is interest, one thing is picking up the phone to see what's going on, to see what a deal could look like. The other thing is getting the green light from the player. Now, it's not quite a Brian and Bumo situation, but it is similar in terms of you now have a player who wants to join us and wants to leave their club. Now, they're professional. They're not going to down tools. Well, we'll see how it turns out. He's 21 years of age. He seems like a really humble kid. He's got a lot to learn. He's got a lot of work to do, but he's a top player already. But he doesn't strike. Things can change massively quickly. He doesn't strike me as someone who's gonna agitate for a move immediately. And you know, all of a sudden he's down tools. I refuse to play in the first game of the season. I don't know who they're playing first, Brighton, but you know that's just not really how it goes. But then we say that. What did we see? With Moises Caicedo? I remember that time when he was trying to get the move to Chelsea and Liverpool, respectively, at the time. I think he was travelling for a medical for Liverpool at one point. He did like a statement, didn't he? Which was like, you know, I've put in a lot of work at Brighton. I'm paraphrasing here. I put in a lot of work at Brighton, and I hope that they can see that this is fair. They're going to get a big fee for me. Basically, please don't price me out. I really want to leave. I love this. This is club been great to me, but I'm ready for the next step of my career. Almost like a get me out thing. Now, I'm not saying that Baleba's going to do that. I'm not saying that at all. But similar, like what I'm saying is, that for all you know, it could take that pattern out of nowhere. That pattern could just happen, and the player gets frustrated that, you know, I can actually go Man United now. Please let me go. And the valuation might frustrate the player, and it might make him get more agitated and start saying, I'm not playing, or his performances go down, or, you know, Fabian Hertzler looks at him and says to the hierarchy at Brighton, his head's not in it. Like, what do you want me to do? But having said that, this is where we have to bring it down a little bit, yeah? This is Brighton Football Club. Yeah? This is Brighton Football Club. And when they put these type of numbers on players, they get their money. And this is where Ineos, Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox, Christian Vivell, etc., they got a big task on their hands, because the word that's being used, I saw David Ornstein doing a piece as a video piece on Athletic. The word he used was improbable. And I think the reason why that word is being used is because people are well aware of how Brighton move in these situations. Brighton will not be bullied. Brighton will not be backed into a corner. Brighton will not allow a gun to be held to their head and they just surrender because they're little old Brighton, they're little old seagulls. We've seen enough evidence to tell us, doesn't matter who you are, that's not running. You know what I mean? Chelsea had to pay, 115 million for for Caicedo fee. I think it's about 115, isn't it? There you go. Yeah, 115 million. At the time, that was a British record fee. So nobody can say now, for a player who's got a similar trajectory or similar path from central midfield, next one up, you know what I'm saying? No one can say that is out of the realms, that Brighton don't stick to their guns and get what they want, regardless of what the player says. That's why, just because Baleba has come out and said, according to his report, and said, I want to move, and he's saying to Brighton to let him move to Man United, that's cute. You can ask that, but Paul Barber and them, man, don't care. Tony Bloom and them, man, don't care. Don't care, mate. Yeah, that's nice. You want to go Man United. Man United need to run as RPs. It's that simple. If they don't run the correct money, then you're not going anywhere. They don't want to sell this player. They want to keep him another year. He's got 3 years left on his deal. And also, for us, we need to keep pushing, because you know what's going to happen. That price is going to go up, bro. If he has another top season, I know how well he does in the season versus 1 year left on the 1 year less left on the contract. You got to negate for that. But let's be real. This kid's special, man. This kid's a really, really big top talent. So the chances are, you don't go in there now, that price goes up. You know, when he has his third season in the Prem and he smashes it. So, because I think he's been there for 2 seasons now. So he's a top player, and we got to try. It's good to hear that he wants to come here. It's good to hear that the agent is saying, you know, he's given the thumbs up on personal terms. So we don't believe that to be a problem. But usually that's the easy bit. Do you know what I mean? Especially with young players who are up and coming. No disrespect to Brighton, no disrespect to Brentford, no disrespect to Wolves. Getting players individually out of that, or no disrespect to RB Leipzig, getting players out of those types of environments to come to Manchester United, even though these teams have been better than Man United on the field in the last few years, it doesn't matter, man. It's Man United, and I don't care what rival wants to say, you're deluded, why would anyone want to come to... if you know football, and you know how footballers work, when Man United come knocking and you're at Brighton, you're at Wolves, you're at Brentford, you're going Man United. It's that simple. You know what I'm saying? Christian Eriksen also did it from Brentford. So that whole loyalty thing, and why would you want to do that in your career? It's Manchester United, full stop. But that's the easy bit. Convincing these guys, you know, Baleba's on $12 grand a week. Convincing him to go from 12 grand a week to 100 grand a week is not going to be difficult to offer him that on a 5-year deal plus one, which is probably, I don't know, I'm assuming it'll be that. He's only 21 years of age. That's not hard. That's the easy bit. The hard bit, especially with Brighton, is to convince, not even convince, is to just meet their valuation. There's no convincing. We're not going to be able to go to Paul Barber, Tony Bloom, and be like, look, let us have this now. We'll just give you more installments and a longer... No, where's my 100 million? Okay, well, basically, if you take Toby Collier, we value him at around 25. We don't. Where's my 105 million? Hey, where's my 100 million? So, and listen, that's how I understand Brighton to be. If if Omar Barada, Christian Vivell, Wilcox, etc. can work out something different, then they're going to deserve all the praise. They're going to deserve all the praise because these are not easy people to deal with. Brighton get what they asked for, and you have to respect that. They're a very well-run club. Do you know what I mean? And they're not, like I say, they're not desperate. They're not on the wrong side of PSR. These guys will have the next Baleba lined up already, instantly. And guess what? Even Matoma, Saudi came in January, 90 M's, 80 M's, or something like that. I remember working on it on Sky. I think it was 80 M's. And we were like, right, you're going to turn down 80 M's from Matoma? Because they're like, nope, I'm not ready to sell, don't need to. So let's get it right. There ain't going to be no bullying tactics here, which is why you got to keep Brighton on side and work out what you can do. And if we can get him for, well, if it is 100 million, but if we make it up with players plus cash to get to it, then fair play. Toby Collier originally came through from Brighton Academy, then we got him from there. Maybe they might look at that. Herzl might like Collier. And actually at Brighton, Collier will probably do all right. You know, I can't see Rasmus Hojlund going there, but you know, if there's other players, I don't know, Anthony, I don't know. It's unlikely, but that's why I'm like, we haven't really got much apart from like a Toby Collier. But if they get inventive and start finding a way for Carlos Baleba to get there where it's not just money, or get inventive with the add-ons that actually makes Brighton happy, then fair play. But I worry for him, Jeff. Yeah? Shout out Vivell, he's done well with the Sesko thing. We did that really quickly. I like this. I like how we did that. But this is a different level. Brighton don't give a shit who you are. Whether it is Arsenal, whether it is Liverpool, whether it was Chelsea. They don't care. They get their money for their players. However, you know, the Alexis McAllister was probably the only exception because he had a release clause that was like 35 million or something like that. Fine. But Cucurella, top dollar. Ben White, top dollar. At the time, 50 million. Everyone's going, 50 million for Ben White. Yes. Bissouma, to be fair, was like 25. I don't know if that was contractual or whatever, but even since he's left, he hasn't done that great, to be fair, at Spurs. But he was 25. João Pedro, 55 million, 50 million-ish. They're getting their money. And like you say, Caicedo and is the standout. So, listen, let's see what happens. It's an interesting development, the fact that Baleba's now agitating. Let's see and hope that pushes it on. That pushes it on to like, we need to find a way because he's not happy. Hopefully it does, but if we're honest, it doesn't really go that way with Brighton. It doesn't. Let's be real. That doesn't really happen with Brighton at all. They get what they want for their players, and they don't budge from that. On to Rasmus Hojlund, Ben Jacobs and Crookie, good friend of mine, colleague at TalkSport. They're saying Rasmus Hojlund has now been directly told he'll need to leave to gain minutes this season and is considering his options. Man United prefer to sell, but have not ruled out a loan. Milan prepared to meet Man United's 40 million valuation via a loan fee and buy option. Further talks took place yesterday. Well, there you go. I mean, listen, Rasmus Hojlund he was in the squad yesterday, but didn't get any minutes. He's going to be integral to be either clearing his wages or hopefully an option to buy or a permanent. He's going to be integral to freeing up some money to move for a Baleba, to move for a goalkeeper or whatever it is else we want to do in the window. So don't play him, Ruben. Clearly it's that. If he pulls his hamstring or if he, gets an injury and can't leave, that's going to be detrimental to us. Which, listen, in training it can happen. It can happen during a warm-up, but certainly don't play him. That's the biggest indication yet. And listen, that might upset some people. We can't talk out of both sides of our mouth. Some people really like Rasmus Hojlund and, maybe don't want him to leave and think that there's a player in there. Other people can see that, it hasn't been good enough and he's not good enough and, we have to be ruthless. But at the same time, there's people out there that are talking out both sides of the mouth. 1 minute they're cussing in here saying, oh, you got to get ruthless. What are you doing? Clueless. Oh, look at Omar Barada. Yap for attention. And then the club is moving on players who clearly ain't good enough. And, just because they like the guy, they like the player, you don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? Like Crookie said, he reported this ages ago and people didn't want to hear that. So, I don't know. You just get... This is what happens, isn't it? It's talking out of both sides of your mouth, being hypocritical. It happens all the time online. It happens all the time in this space, isn't it? So, you just got to be smart enough to see the wood from the trees and be like, you know what? Like, this player hasn't been good enough. It's not all been his fault. I think you've got to be balanced in your criticism and liking to Rasmus Hojlund. This has not been his fault. I think it's an unfortunate set of circumstances. Brought into Man United, wasn't good enough to make the cut, didn't have help or support. I still stand by this, I will say this, I don't think he's as bad as he was last season. I don't think that is Rasmus Hojlund, the player. But it's gone horribly wrong for him, and Man United have made a decision, to bring in Benjamin Sesko. So you can't, on one side, say, I tell you what, look at Benjamin Sesko. That's what we need to be getting. And then they're saying, oh, but Rasmus. What about, we have to be ruthless here. He's not good enough. He's not good enough. You get Xerxes fit again, and that's your second number 9. We can't do everything in one go, but that's the feeling, and we have to move Rasmus on. And if Rasmus wants, and actually it's probably best for his career as well. If he's been told that he's not going to get minutes, then at the same time he has to look at, I know he'll probably get picked for Denmark anyway, but what sort of condition is he going to be in? Rasmus is what, 22 now, 23, something like that, and needs to get his career back on track. He needs to play, I know his intention is to stay at Man United, and I respect that. But Man United's intention is to move him on, So listen, ultimately, players have the power. Rasmus Hojlund can choose to, after being told directly to leave, he can choose to say, I don't care that you've told me that. I think Sesko will get injured and Xerxes will get injured and you're going to need me. He could gamble. It's his contract, and he's probably still got 3 years left. Do you know what I mean? We signed Rasmus on a big contract. So he can gamble. But this is about the individuality of the player. I think if he goes to AC Milan, there's talks about, all of the wages being taken care of. And when you go on loan, you're going to get your wages between the two clubs anyway, your parent club and the club you're going to on loan. So that's no problem. It's just whether, I don't know, he has to understand he's not going to play. This is Ruben Amorim and the decision makers saying, Benjamin Sesko is going to be the main 9. And even after that, I'm probably going to go Xerxes. Maybe even after that, I'm going to go Cunha or Mbeumo or Mason Mount. It's what we saw yesterday. So the Man United have made it abundantly clear. I do disagree. I don't think we should be ripping the number off him. Obviously, Sesko is going to need a number pretty quick. I don't think we should treat him bad. KG said in his fan view yesterday, doesn't agree with that. We still have to have some decorum. I know people are saying, forget that, man. Tell him to boot him out. This ain't a daycare, nursery centre, whatever. I hear that. But he hasn't done anything wrong. We don't have to treat him like that. Rashford, he was in and out of the squad. There's situations that have gone wrong. He'd already said he wants to leave. He'd already been on loan. He's done. So that whole, and they obviously spoke to him before. I don't think they need to do that to Rasmus Hojlund, But then again, if he goes on loan, technically he's still a Man United player. So do you take their numbers then? But then you can change it at the end of the year. I don't know. To be honest, that's a fucking number. I don't really care. I just need Rasmus Hojlund to move on best for him, best for us. Get the money or at least get the wages off the book, and it says that Milan are prepared to meet Man United's 40 million valuation via a loan fee, and 40 million for Rasmus Hojlund would be all right, considering where we're at. So yeah, that's the latest on what's going on there. Let me know what you guys are thinking on that. We can't talk out of both sides of our mouths. You can't want Ineos to get serious and do what they need to be doing, and then on the other side of your mouth, just because you like Rasmus and he's one of your favourites, you're crying that he's leaving. You're just talking shit. Let's be honest. So let me know what you guys are thinking. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. That's your latest news. Carlos Baleba has said and made it clear that he wants to join Manchester United, according to reports. His agent has also agreed on the personal terms should Brighton agree on a fee. And that's the thing. Can Man United agree a fee with Brighton? There's still a deal to be done there. I'm still believing. I hope you're still believing. Until there's no more believing, till there's no more belief because it's over, it's done, then we have to keep believing. Yeah? That's how it goes. And with Rasmus Hojlund, let me know. Do you think it's a good idea or not? Spoke to a guy, Ibrahim, yesterday from the Sierra Leone Supporters Club. He was like, keep Rasmus. You need to keep him because, if someone gets injured, then we've got no players. But we have got a lot of less games. So I didn't agree with that take, but some of you might. Let me know how you guys are thinking. I'm out of here. Take care. Peace.